Do you want to know more about a class? If yes, then you clicked on the right video. This is Class Overviews, a series where I go over one of the 10 Hearthstone classes, their playstyle, hero power, decks, staple legendaries, and if they're an overall good class to craft cards for in relation to the wild format specifically. I hope you can all get something out of this video, whether you are a new or returning player. Thank you Zeligans Vidius for suggesting Demon Hunter as the topic of today's video. Suggest a class you would like me to cover next week in the comments below, and click the top right playlist to see all the class overviews I've made so far. Now, let's begin with everyone's second favorite class after Priest, the hero powering, power creeping, broken unreleased DLC class, Demon Hunter. Illidan's hero power is a really big part of his identity, and it should be obvious why. It is the only basic hero power that costs 1 mana from the get-go. Demon Claws. 1 mana, gain +1 attack this turn. This is a really busted hero power, honestly. Besides Warlock, I would say this is the second best hero power in the game, solely based on the fact it only costs 1 mana. There's a reason Gen decks made you play around a massive deck restriction for the upside of having a 1 mana hero power. It just becomes super consistent. On turn 1, you will always have an advantage just because of the fact that you can hero power that turn. This doesn't even account for the numerous cards that synergize with your hero power, and honestly carry the deck. I'll go over this later. Okay, but what is Demon Hunter's playstyle exactly? At the moment, in Wild specifically, you only play aggro if you want to win. People have experimented with mid-range Reno and Death Rattle Demon Hunter lists, but let's be real. If you play Demon Hunter in Wild, you just hit face. This translates over to the one competitive Demon Hunter deck. No, you did not mishear me. Odd Demon Hunter. This is really not a complicated deck to play. Just abuse your now 1 mana, gain 2 attack hero power to deal way too much damage to your opponent's face, and those hero power synergy cards I mentioned earlier are used to their full potential, as once you can get just 1 to stick on board, you can have it scale and do loads of damage over the course of a game, which in this case is around 6 turns, because by that point you've probably won or probably conceded. Okay, I'm not just going to go over one single deck, that's a bit sad. Let's mix things up this time and go over 2 other decks I could possibly see being viable wild decks in the future. OTK Demon Hunter. This deck is definitely prevalent in Standard and is the background footage, but there are just a lot of better OTK decks in Wild at the moment. Demon Hunter seems to be getting a lot of control-focused cards printed for it though each expansion, and if this deck can keep receiving consistent support, maybe with some more mana cheat thrown in, it could be a potential tier 3 deck in Wild. Now, this is a really new deck archetype push that started in Forged in the Barrens specifically, and it is Death Rattle Demon Hunter. Now, this deck actually has some alright support for it in Wild already. I'm mostly talking about N'Zoth, Fugan, and Stalag, but for the future of this archetype depends on the support it could possibly receive in the next few expansions. If it can just get 1 or 2 cards that really justify playing the deck, I can totally see it being viable. It just needs that 1 card that can help Demon Hunter get to turns 5, 6, and 7, where it will have the mana to make lots of strong plays and win the tempo back. Okay, now this would be the part of the video where I cover staple class legendaries, which are all cards that are either extremely strong or extremely versatile. Now for Demon Hunter though, we're in a weird spot, because Demon Hunter doesn't really have any staple legendaries in Wild. In Odd Demon Hunter, the only competitive Wild deck for the class, you really actually don't even play a single Demon Hunter legendary in it. I'm not joking, the only 2 legendaries are Baku and Leroy. Legendaries really need to have an insane effect to see play in Wild, and when you look at Demon Hunter legendaries as a whole, it's pretty clear why you don't see them much at all. So instead, I'm going to go over legendaries that I see having potential, like what I did with the 2 decks I mentioned earlier. Ilganov. I'll keep this brief. He's just the main reason OTK Demon Hunter even exists, and the same way I think the deck has potential in Wild, I think Ilganov also has a lot of potential in Wild. Demon Hunter just needs more anti-aggro tools, which it's getting a lot of each expansion. Death Speaker Blackthorne. He just cheats out 15 mana worth of Death Rattles on turn 7. Even in Wild, that's a really strong effect. He will always be in Death Rattle Demon Hunter, and if it ever happens, he will be a really big reason for its success in Wild. Nithrandamus. This guy is actually ridiculous, and if he was in any other class where you could actually see play, people would definitely talk about him more. I see him being in every slow Demon Hunter deck in the future. Man, I hate to end things off like this. I don't really know what else to talk about though. That kinda sums up Demon Hunter and Wild. There just isn't really much to talk about. To be fair, the class has only been out for 1 year, but still, compared to how much of a terror he can be in Standard, Wild Demon Hunter is a bit sad. It has a single competitive deck, which even then is just tier 3, and doesn't even play a single legendary the class has access to. Like I said earlier, Demon Hunter is far from hopeless though. It has a really strong hero power, he gets great support each expansion, and has decks I can genuinely see being strong. For the time being though, I just can't recommend crafting cards for Demon Hunter if you plan on playing Wild. Other classes just do what he does better, and right now, I would just recommend waiting things out and give the class time to diversify and improve. I personally can see Demon Hunter being strong in the future, but only time will tell. And with that, Zedud out.